Hi there. Let's take a look at my inked portfolio template. Let's bring it up in the browser first, and I'll refresh so that we can see the animation coming in. So it's a very bold template and quite niche, using this nice contrast with this dark ink and then this bright accent color. We've got this nice I call it my nanite cursor, because you'll see that as it hovers over different elements on the page, it changes its consistency to form a finger pointing and other things. So yeah, and it uses these little dots to form its shape. I'll show you in Framer in a minute. So let's just take a look at what we've got. We've got this really nice navigation opening up in the corner, and it's a persistent navigation, so it stays on the in the top corner as you scroll through the page. And because it's it's small and out of the way, it's got this radiating circles on it to grab your attention. But it's got this lovely animation. I really enjoyed. That was a lot of fun making that. That's what I love about Framer. It's a lot of fun. So as we scroll down the page, we've got these nice work cards, and we can see that they're black and white, quite dull until you hover over them, and then they pop out on the page, and we've got this nice 3D rotation following the cursor. And this was all built in Framer as well. There's no custom components on this, so that's great with that nice shadow there. Then when you click on an element, it turns into this format where we have some information about the project that it pertains to, and you can click through and see that project. So that's great. And we've got these different types. We've got a browser, tablet, phone, and then this page here, and they all have this nice hover effect, so you can display different projects that you've worked on in different formats. So that was a lot of fun to build as well. So moving down the page, we've got these skill sliders that come in, and they're varied effect, so that they slide into place when they're in view. And then we have these project cards here with another hover effect with this really nice 3D grid preview. And again, it just shows you how flexible Framer is, that you can build these kind of things, no code, and just, if you've got the imagination for it, you can build it. Then coming down to the footer here, footer area, we've got these feedback cards and this really nice paper curl effect with the tab coming out, showing you what the category of the feedback is. And there's some custom overrides on this. So we've got some truncation of text overrides. So there's lots of overrides and components in this site that are hidden out of view, and you don't notice them, but you would notice them if they weren't there. Again, with the nanite cursor here, as we move it into the form, it forms this text cursor here, which is really cool. So this cursor is very versatile. Then we've got the blog, and again, some nice hover effects. Click through to the article. We've got a read time, which is dynamically generated from the content, and these share sheets, and these all work and link to X or Facebook or whatever you want. Print activates the print, and so on. So yeah, it's got some really cool stuff in it, and again, it's a lot of fun to design. Let's take a look at it in Framer. So first thing, I'm going to take a look at the cursor, which is, here it is in the nav. There's so many different elements. So the cursor itself, you can see it's split up into these different variants, and we're using the custom cursor effect on, let's say we select the navigation here, we can see that the cursor is going from the to the pointer red. It's a good idea to name all your different variants so it's easier to pick up on them. Yeah, so that's what I was going to show you. I was going to show you changing the color. So we've got this really vibrant accent, and what I've done is I've used it throughout the site, but I've applied some interesting little techniques that you might find useful, so that we can change the color of everything. For example, these cards here, these feedback cards, we want to be able to change this dynamically with the color. So what I've done with these is I've actually got a frame with the red color applied. So we've got that accent, but we're actually using a mask to create the shape. And the beauty of that is that the mask will create the shape, and we're using an SVG mask for that. And then the color shines through. So it's really easy then to change or the color of everything all at once. And I'll show you what I mean there. If I go down to my accent color and I just change it to anything, you'll see that everything changes all at once. Doesn't matter what it is, it's all applied. So that's a really good little technique to use. And because I was scratching my head with how can I get things like icons and that to change color, because you can't change everything just through a color change like that. So once again, I'm rambling. That's the technique I used. Anyway, it's very straightforward to update. Everything's pretty much componentized, so that, for example, with these skill set charts, if you select one, you'll see that we've got a scroll effect to it. And let's actually just take a look at the variant and the breakdown. So we've got the different skill values, and we've got an idle state. So this is where it's at, its base point, and then it scales up to either 50%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and so on. So those are different variants. And then to get that effect working, what we do is we use when the section is in view, we're going from its idle state to the 50% state or the 75% state, depending on how we want to visualize the particular skills. With the work cards, we have quite a bit of content that we can change in them. So we've got the card numbers that show up in the corner there. We can change the image, and we can also change the variant. So for instance, I could switch this over to be a phone, or I could turn it into paper or tablet or browser. So that's great that we can have that effect. And if we click into it, you'll see that how it's built. Actually, I won't spoil the surprise. If you get the template, you can see how it's built, and have a play with that. But it works great, and I love the idea of the cards popping out at the client and being really colorful. It really makes them focus. So we've got the three device types that you need already set up. Really easy to modify, easy to hook up to the collection CMS if you wanted to. And I'll just take a look at the blog as well. So if we go through to blog, let's go through to the blog detail page. I wanted to show you the read time and the share sheet functionality. So we've got this little read time override here, and you can see down the corner we've got our site overrides, and we're using the show read time. And then on the text itself, which is just a text field with the and because it's rich text in the CMS collection, we've just connected that up. But if you look at that, we've got the calculate read time. So what this read time is doing is it's picking up on the content here and then making a calculation and inserting it in here, which is great. So you've seen that on a lot of sites, so that's really useful. And then in our share sheet here, we have our different, let me switch that to day mode so we can see them a bit easier. We have our individual icons here, and they're individual components as well, so they've got hover state. But you can see that we've got the little marker here telling us that there's an override applied to it. So if I click into that, we have the code overrides here, isn't it? So our code override, we select it, site overrides, and this one we're going to select print button. And this one we would select site overrides, and we want that to be email, so share email button, and so on. So we have these share sheet options built into the site itself through these share on X. The great thing with doing it this way as well, through overrides rather than a component, is you can apply them to anything. So you can create whatever button you want and then just use this to apply Facebook and then LinkedIn. So I'm showing you these, how they're set up, just so that you can see them in action for yourself. And it all works, it all functions. So you click it and it shares out the page with the proper URL, and it grabs the OG image from the details and so on. It all works. Another rambling video. It's getting to be something I do. However, there's so much to show you, and I'm so excited about the products that I build, because I love building them, that sometimes I just go on a bit. Anyway, that is the inked template. It's $29 to buy from Framerverse, from me directly. I hope you have fun using it. There may be some components in it that you want to use on your own site. Obviously, if you've bought it, feel free to do whatever you want. And I've got lots of other templates that I'm looking forward to building as well, with all of these kind of features. This is the first one I've been able to put out there because I've been so busy on other things. But I'm going to stop here, and thank you for watching.